When I walk inside the club and they think I'm a punk. Yo, what's good, everybody? This is your boy C Money from the Victorious Sports Podcast, and we are back with yet another episode. And we're covering a few things, a couple of ways to end our summer strong that happened over this past weekend with NXT Takeover Toronto and SummerSlam on Sunday, which was also another heater. I mean, WWE was throwing nothing but heat over this weekend. I had a couple people I talked to. My man Greedy, he was telling me that he had predicted that Undisputed Era was going to run away with all the gold. Adam Cole predicted that they were going to be draped in all the gold by the end of the evening. And to tell you what, unfortunately, that didn't happen. If you had seen it, if you haven't, spoiler alert, don't listen to a podcast after it's already come out. That makes no sense. But let's go over first. I want to just say this was a 5-star pay-per-view. From top to bottom, my favorite match we're going to talk about in a little bit, I think was the most underrated match, and it wasn't even a title match, and I honestly think they stole the show. But first, we get into the NXT Tag Team Championships, the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly are already two-time tag team champions. Street Profits defending their championships. First off, just coming out of the bat, like my boy Greedy pointed out, that how are the champs going to come out first and have Undisputed Era come out second? The disrespect to the champs, making them come out first and not even coming out second, was just despicable to me. And that shows no respect. And my man Greedy right there said, oh, you know what that means? That's one down already. Sorry, I had to take a sip of water for the working man. And when he's talking about, he's like, okay, if they're coming out first, that means, they got to be losing the belts. And I wasn't all the way there with him, but I'm not going to lie to y'all. When they came out, I was like, oh man, this isn't looking too good. But a back and forth grueling match. Just the Street Profits never, they've raised their bar every time that they've had a match. And Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly were the perfect team to have them go against and have them lead that match. And they just sold everything so well. The match was great. The commentary was phenomenal by Morrow. But at the end of the day, the Street Profits are the ones who leave with the Tag Team Championships, and they weren't going to be stopped. And I was just so happy for that. What else did we have? Can I say also that Montez Ford is probably the most charismatic person that I think has come out of there, minus the Velveteen Dream, in quite a long time. I don't know about Angelo Dawkins. He's been there for a while. He's definitely the muscle. He seems like he's the more comfortable one, just because it seems like Montez Ford gets a little excited over times. But Street Profits came out on top, and they showed up, and they showed out. Red Cups up, y'all. The match after that was Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae, a.k.a. Mrs. Gargano. And this was my favorite match of the night. These girls brought it. Hard hitting. There was nothing you could say but instant classic this match was. I'll give the NXT Tag Team Championship match a B+. This gets an A+. No doubt. No doubt 5-star match. And you didn't expect this coming from Io Shirai or coming from Candice LeRae. But Io comes out and she's like, I don't know, she changed up her gimmick. She's just like this like techie, like, I don't know, like punkish goth girl. I don't know what she's supposed to be. But her wrestling hasn't changed. It's only gotten better. And Candice LeRae, the way she wrestles out there, she wrestles just like Johnny Gargano. She's just hard on her sleeve, balls to the wall, ready to go and get it and steal the show every single time that she comes out. And no one can stop her. These two girls, I think, outshined the women's tag team championship match, if you ask me, and outshined maybe even their first match. There was usually in NXT, that first match that opens the show is a banger. And then the second match is like, it's like a roller coaster. They take you up, and then they drop you down. And they take you up, and they drop you down. And then they take you up, and they crescendo back down. But there was none of that. It was consistent the entire pay-per-view, and these girls proved it. I mean, Io Shirai hits an insane avalanche Spanish fly and crushes Candice LeRae. Io Shirai proved to me that she is a bona fide star. Now, sorry, I'm going to scratch my beard. Now, the only issue with this is, we all know how Vince is with his international stars. I mean, I don't get it. He just doesn't know how to put them over. This is the whole point of a manager. For a mouthpiece. If they can't talk, or perhaps don't even speak the language, why are you not using them as a mouthpiece? I don't get it. They're doing it with Paige on SmackDown, with Kairi Sane and Asuka. Why aren't they doing this for Io? So that's the only gripe I have about it. Is I'm excited for her, but I'm scared that she's... Oh, that's a beast. A guard dog. I'm excited for her, but I'm nervous at the same time that they won't know what to do with her when she gets to the main roster, because they're going to expect her to talk. And if she can't talk, she's going to drown. Following that A1 match that Io and Candice LeRae put on, we have Matt Riddle and Killian Dane are brawling between the match of the North American Championship and this match with Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. And Riddle and Killian Dane are battling in the ring, outside the ring, up the ramp, and Matt Riddle jumps on Killian's back. He's trying to choke him out. Killian's banging and ramming him into the LED board. Still can't shake him off. Finally takes one big swing and swings him off of him. But then, as Killian gets up, Killian runs and dives, like clotheslines Matt Riddle right off of the stage and right through a table. And he also takes a stagehand down with him. The stagehand was actually in between the both of them, so he probably got the worst of it. But more to come with Matt Riddle and Killian Dane. Their feud is just sparking up. And I'm glad that they sent Killian back down, because they weren't doing anything with him on the main roster. They broke up Sanity, which makes no sense to me at all. They broke up Sanity. Eric Young's still on the main roster. Don't know what he's doing. Alexander Wolf, he's gone from the company. They cut him, and then they sent Killian back down to NXT. And I think that's a wise move by them. You have to remember, WWE announced that NXT is going live 2 hours on FS1. And I think they're doing that to compete with AEW. Head to head. Banger for banger. So Uncle Ted, he won't go away with that wrestling. He's just pesky, ready to get under Vince's skin if it'll kill him. But they need more stars in NXT. I hope they don't bring up a lot of people between now and WrestleMania, because this is going to be a make or break for them. You have Velveteen Dream as a bona fide star. Adam Cole, star. You got Pete Dunne you can bring over from UK. You got Walter over, who you can bring over from the UK. Now you have Killian Dane down there. Big man. And you know that's going to give them new heels. That's not including the people that they're going to bring in between now and then them in October going live. So this is going to see who's going to show out and show up. For the women, you got Bianca Belair sitting there. You got Mia Yim sitting there, itching and clawing. So we're going to see what happens with this. All right, up next, North American Championship. You got your champion, the Velveteen Dream, Pete Dunne, and Roderick Strong. Now, this match was nothing but classic. I don't know. I may have to watch this pay-per-view back. I don't know if I have the time, but I'm definitely going to do it. It was just so good. I couldn't get enough of it. There was not one bad match. It was fantastic. The Dream hit his Dream Valley Driver on Pete Dunne, and then he threw only for Roddy to toss him over the top rope. And as Roddy tosses him over the rope, the Dream he jumps back into the ring and then hits the Purple Rainmaker on Roddy, and then pins Pete Dunne. And 1, 2, 3, your boy is Velveteen Dream, still your NXT North American champion, and by God, he better be. Going into this fall season and them getting on on FS1, they're gonna need all the stars they can to prove that this is the A1 show. And everyone down there, all they want to do is steal the show. They don't want to just top the main roster, they want to top each other. And when you have people that are hungry like that, shoot. You know what they say. Sky's the limit. Up next is your Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler versus Mia Yim, the Blazing Asian, whatever she calls herself. All types of scrumptious, I'm not going to lie. Shayna Baszler's character is badass. But Shayna's promos and her wrestling skills still aren't that badass. She's getting there with the wrestling, but with her promos, she can't speak a lick. And it's disappointing because she is one thing away from being on the main roster. I think that's why they haven't put her on the main roster yet. She can do everything but talk. And she's not The Undertaker. She's not Aleister Black. She's not the type of people to be quiet and demonic. She has to speak in order to enforce her will, because she's the same size as all these other broads, but she's just more technically sound. She's smarter. She knows she's better, but she can't prove that over the microphone by talking. And that's a big thing on this show. I mean, your first 10, 15 minutes of every Raw and SmackDown is someone coming out and running their mouth. This show's going live. How is she going to come out and run her mouth if she can't run her mouth? Shayna's got to step it up. Luckily, they got HBK down there now. And I know he's been really getting a liking to Adam Cole. And I hope he works with some of the girls, because damn if they don't have some talent down there. Shayna Baszler eventually snatched up the victory by reversing an armbar into a Kirifuda clutch. I think that's how you pronounce it. Kirifuda clutch. Before she maneuvers over and transitions into a triangle choke with her legs to force Mia to tap. Mia had nowhere to go. Now, Mia's got it all. She's got a sweet look. She can wrestle. She's got experience. But this loss, I think this loss made her weak a little bit. I mean, she went 25 minutes with the champ, but at the end of the day, it makes her look like all the rest. There's Shayna Baszler at the top. And then after that, what do you have? Everyone's mid-tier. There's no like A1, 1A, 1B like players for them. You got Bianca and Mia, okay, and then who do you have under them? A whole flood of other women. Because you have to. Well, all right, I take that back. You have Shayna, you have Io, and you have Candice LeRae in a second tier bracket. Your third tier bracket is still Mia Yim. I take that back. Shayna, Io, and Candice LeRae are in the same bracket. And then after that, who do you have? All B plus players. Not even B plus. B's and B minuses. You have C's. They're barely getting by. One, it's because we're not seeing a lot of them. Two, they don't showcase any of these girls that are... I don't know what's taking them so long to get ready. I really don't. Because this show is about to start now. And if they don't start it... If they don't get these girls ready, they're not going to have any women showing out on live TV for a while, because they're just going to have Shayna go up against, I don't know, are they going to bring someone back down from the main roster and send them against Shayna? I don't know what they're going to do, but I hope they do something quick. And I think we have that women's tournament coming up soon, so maybe they'll have new girls for that. Maybe they bring some girls over from the NXT UK. Who knows? All right. Last but not least, your NXT Championship. Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano in a 2 out of 3 falls match. A1. Okay? A1. There's no bathroom breaks in this pay-per-view. Okay? This takeover it goes up there with almost a few of their original takeovers with Sasha and Bayley. I mean, damn. 2 out of 3 falls match. You have Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano battling back and forth, but Johnny just loses his temper and he can't handle his emotions. And that gets the best of him sometimes. We've seen it with him going against Ciampa, and now we're seeing it going against Adam Cole, where he just can't handle his emotions, and he does something stupid to cause himself the match. So the first fall, Johnny Gargano gets disqualified because he wants to take a steel chair and go across Adam Cole's body with it, and he just can't help it. So he's all right. He's like, all right, I'm giving up the first one, and if he's okay with it, that's all right. Now the second is a street fight, so he's already equipped with the steel chair, and he's ready to go. Johnny does like a suplex onto the a steel chair, and then Gargano puts Adam Cole on it. No, I'm sorry. Before that, so they're battling on the outside, and Johnny's throwing in tables. He's throwing in chairs. Adam Cole is getting up, putting a chair in between the turnbuckles. Gargano comes in. Adam's trying to throw him into it, reverses it, kicks him into into one of the turnbuckles on the opposite side of the ring, and then picks up Adam Cole off of the turnbuckle and then throws him into this steel chair that's like wedged in between the ropes that Adam Cole set up. Threw him like a lawn dart. All right, this is bullseye. Okay, Adam Cole gets flung off of that chair, falls back down, and right into the middle of the ring. Gargano hits that Gargano escape, and Adam Cole had no escape, nowhere to roll to, he couldn't use the rope break. He had no choice but to tap out. The fall number 2 goes to Johnny Gargano via submission. Fall number 3, which was a special event, that one William Regal got to pick, and that if it went to 3 falls, of course it was going to go 3 falls. I mean, what 2 out of 3 doesn't? Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole are looking up, and from out of nowhere, from this curtain that's up in the rafters, come down and it's a beautiful steel cage that is just scattered with weapons, nicely placed, by the way. We got barbed wire at the top of the cage. There's a table at the top of the cage. There's kendo sticks. There was did I say steel chairs? There's steel chairs mounted on this thing. There's sledgehammers, okay, on this, and they're all placed nicely. It was great looking, just coming down and like looking at their faces as it was coming down. It was just so good, and they're going back and forth in between this, and Johnny goes to the top of the cage, and he finds some bolt cutters, climbs back up to another part of the cage where he grabs the barbed wire and he starts to cut around the barbed wire. And he takes a piece of barbed wire and he's climbing down. As he's climbing down, Adam Cole is running away to the opposite side of the ring and climbing up so he can get away from Johnny. Adam is resting on the top of the cage where the table was set. Johnny's chasing him up the cage. Johnny chases him up the cage, and Adam's trying to wrestle like the barbed wire out of Johnny's hand, and Gargano grabs Adam Cole, and he just tries to throw him off of the cage. And before they climbed the cage, I apologize, Johnny Gargano was setting up 2 tables to try climb a ladder to put Adam Cole through, but Adam Cole saw that barbed wire and he skedaddled. So he grabs Adam Cole when they're on the top of the cage, on the top of the table, and they fling each other off at the same time and go right through the table. I don't know if you see it, but the barbed wire goes through Adam Cole's back, and you can actually see some of the razors from the barbed wire in his back. It was nasty. Adam rolls over. 1, 2, 3. Covers Johnny Gargano. And Adam Cole is the only member that leaves with the gold for Undisputed Era. Now, that match, again, was an A+. You know, the whole show was like that. I'm just going to say B+ for the women's title match. Everything else gets an A, except for the Io Shirai. That gets a B. That gets an A+. Tag team, men's tag team 2, B+. So I mean, an average. If I'm at a 5, I'm gonna say this was at least a 4.5. Well worth watching, pay-per-view for sure. It was, it was just so good. I mean, everyone showed up, showed out, and unfortunately, Greedy was wrong. The Undisputed Era did not walk out with the gold. They weren't draped over, at least. Following that, we have SummerSlam. SummerSlam was on Sunday. It actually ended a half an hour early, but I mean, it also started at like 6, I think. We had Buddy Murphy. I'm sorry, our pre-show matches were Drew Gulak, the Cruiserweight Champion, defending against Oney Lorcan, and Drew Gulak won with his Cyclone Crash finisher, and Buddy Murphy defeated Apollo Crews via disqualification in our kickoff show. Again, we were in Toronto, which was pretty lit. Our first match of the night was the Women's Tag Team Championship. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Iconics, your tag team champions. And I thought that was really cool. And going back to that, later on, I guess I can kind of compare it because he's on the main roster now. But Alexa Bliss came out cosplaying as... Johnny Gargano came out cosplaying as Wolverine, which was super cool. Like, his whole outfit looked like Wolverine. Alexa shows out on on SummerSlam, and she's dressed up as Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story, and she looked super sick. And she even, like, when the match started and the bell rang, she, like, stuck her arm out and pointed at her wrist as if she was shooting a laser at oh my god, not Peyton Royce, Billy Kay. It was so good. But I think the Iconics, I mean, they didn't get a lot of shine being the women's tag team champion, and they have been pushing Alexa and Nikki Cross a lot lately. And over time, Peyton Royce just got laid out with the right hand in the match, and Alexa goes to the top rope, hits the Twist of Bliss. 1, 2, 3. Brand new tag team champions, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. The match was alright. I mean, the best part of the match was definitely Alexa coming out as Buzz Lightyear. Following that, we have the Raw Women's Championship. The Man, Becky Lynch versus Natty Neidhart, a.k.a. Natalya, in a submission match. And this match was an alright match as well. I mean, it was very emotional. You're in Canada. You have the Man coming out who everyone loves no matter where you are. And then you have the hometown girl with Natty coming out. She's not her hometown, but her home country, coming out draped in the Canadian flag, wearing all types of pride. And the crowd pops big time for that because, you know, they love that. But Becky tried to disrespect Natty by putting her in a sharpshooter, and Natty would not give up to her uncle's move, so she eventually got out of it, and she put Becky in the disarmor, and that looked great because I really thought that they were going to give it to Natty in her hometown, in her home country of Canada, in front of everyone. They're in Jurassic Park at the wherever the Toronto Raptors play. I forgot what it's called. Nova Scotia Arena, I think. But damn if it wasn't a good match. Eventually, Becky rolls out of it. She reverses the disarmor, puts in her disarmor, and stretches Natty out. And Natty has no choice but either snap or tap, and she tapped. So, another good match. But the following match brings back some pageantry, some legends, okay? Goldberg versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, the match was short and sweet. It wasn't... it was more to hype Goldberg than anything. Luckily, this just helped Goldberg over time to... He had a really bad main event with The Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, and I think this kind of helped kind of let us forget about that, because we don't want that to be our last memory of Goldberg. The only bad side is, I mean, you bring back Dolph Ziggler after all this time, and he jobs to Goldberg. That's... I don't know what to say. It's terrible. I really thought there was no point. But whatever. I understand why they did it. They wanted the biggest shit talker to go ahead and be shut up. And who else to shut him up but Goldberg? And that's how we can remember Goldberg. We have the New Day coming out, or they're backstage, and they're pumping up Kofi Kingston. They're like, yo, Kofi, you know we're in the 6. We're in Toronto, Canada, and there's only one man that when you hear Toronto that you go ahead and put together with, and that's Drizzy Drake. And they're like, we got Drake here. He's here to pump you up. What's good? So out of nowhere, Drake Maverick comes up. He's in a costume in a Toronto Raptors jersey, looking like one of the ball boys. And he was a little upset that he came out because he was like, so where's R-Truth? And they're like, Big E and Xavier looking around like, what do you mean where's R-Truth? He was like, you told me R-Truth was going to be here. That's why I dressed up and came here. Sorry, Kofi. And Kofi's like, yeah, I'm really disappointed. I thought Drake was going to come out. And he's like, don't worry, I'm the real Drizzy. And he gets out of there because he realizes R-Truth isn't there, so he's a goner. Following that, your United States Championship, AJ Styles versus Ricochet. Now this was an all right match. I mean, probably the best match that's happened so far between the two women's matches and the Goldberg match. This is your really first match of the night that had some action to it, which was awesome. And Ricochet came out, and he was cosplaying as like Nightwing, which was pretty badass. He's Dick Grayson, the original Robin, Nightwing. And it was a really back and forth match. You had AJ come out with the original club, the OC, and Ricochet was out there by himself. Luckily, the club didn't interfere or anything like that, but Ricochet, he attempted a Phoenix Splash from the top. Bye, Mom! Sorry, that was my mom. She's dipping out. Hit him with the top rope from the Phoenix Splash, and he was caught in midair with a Styles Clash by the phenomenal AJ Styles. And AJ wins via the Styles Clash, then calls in the OC, and he sixed them on Ricochet, and they hit him with the Magic Killer. It was a good match. Cool to see Ricochet come out in that sweet Nightwing gear, but it's hard when you're comparing things to NXT. It really is. Next up, your SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Ember Moon. This was an okay match. I really didn't expect Ember to win it all. I mean, they've been shutting her down a lot lately. So, it is what it is with Ember Moon. She's just lost in the shuffle, I think, right now, and maybe they give her another shot. But Bayley hit Ember with a Bayley-to-belly suplex from the second rope, and it looked gorgeous. The way she slammed Ember down, oh my God, the entire crowd popped. That was their biggest pop of the night, minus Goldberg coming out. It was so good. That was by far the highlight of that match, was that sweet Bayley to belly. Probably her best one she's ever done. It looked great. Hopefully we see a replay of that on Raw. Following that, Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. The stipulation entering the match was Owens has to quit WWE if he loses to Shane. But Shane, he is a big man, and they don't come empty-handed. So he pulled an old McMahon card out of his sleeve, and he's like, well, if this is going to be a fair match, I'm going to need a fair referee. Special guest referee, enforcer on the outside. Ladies and gentlemen, Elias. Sip of water for the working man. Now, KO took out both the Elias and referee with a running senton on the outside. After the referee woke up to see KO with a chair in his hand, KO waited for the referee to turn his back, and then when the ref took the chair out of his hand and went to go put it down and hand it to someone on the outside, he turned around and kicked Shane right in the beans. Low blow, Stone Cold-esque, hits him with the stunner right after that. 1, 2, 3 for the pin and the win. Kevin Owens, who he seems to keep his job for yet another week. So we'll see what happens on SmackDown and see where this picks up. I don't know. Are we going to see any more Shane McMahon anymore? Or is Kevin going to get a big push? Are we going to see him get a title? I don't know. But we're going to find out on Tuesday. Charlotte Flair versus Trish Stratus is your next match. This match was okay. I mean, you got Trish coming out. She's in Toronto, hometown girl. And you have the Queen, and I really thought they were going to give it her because they were in Toronto. I mean, why else would they have Trish come back? Because when you look at Trish compared to Charlotte, it's almost like looking at like the evolution of Trish. What Trish would have been 20 years later. It's crazy. Crazy. One, I'm pretty sure that Charlotte has at least 80 pounds on Trish. Not really, 60 pounds. On top of that, she's... Oh, I don't know. maybe almost a foot taller than Trish. Like, she's huge compared to Trish. So I didn't really see it being believable that Trish would win, but at the same time, they were in her hometown. And why bring her back unless she's really not the Queen of Queens? And that was the whole point of this match, was who was the Queen of Queens. And it was kind of tough to watch, but she just couldn't keep up with Charlotte. Eventually, Charlotte applied the figure eight, and it was tap for Trish. She couldn't handle it, and she had a good match, but it's just, I couldn't see her beating Charlotte. It's just too much. Yet again, another decent match. I mean, so far, I'd say it's B's across the board, minus the Goldberg match. That was kind of trash for all the matches. After the Charlotte match, you have our main event. Or not our main event, our co-main event. The WWE Championship. Kofi Kingston versus the Viper, Randy Orton. No, I was super hyped because they've been pumping up this match. Like, Kofi's cut a rack of good promos, and I'm hyped to see Randy Orton, man. Randy Orton's one of my favorite wrestlers. 5 years ago, you would have said Randy Orton is probably top 5 best wrestlers in the world. Like, no doubt about it. I mean, he's a little older. He's part-time now. He's not declining. It's just we don't see as much of him anymore. And, I mean, the fact that they pumped up the match so much, and it ended on a disqualification, which was really upsetting. It's just disappointing, to be totally honest with you. It makes me so upset that they just did all this for what seems like no reason. You could have put literally anyone in the spot, and they could have had a better match. Samoa Joe and Roman, maybe? Daniel Bryan and literally anyone? Shinsuke Nakamura? I mean, I think this is kind of a waste by this happening. I mean, it was almost like the Goldberg match. It was like kind of trash. But whatever. I don't know what they're doing. Hopefully we don't see this again at Survivor Series. I don't need to see a Randy Orton versus Kofi rematch. Not if it's going to end like this. But highly disappointing. Personally, highlight of the evening, though, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor. Bray comes out to his old theme song, which is like it's remixed, and it sounds super cool. He's coming out in this dark leather jacket with these like red and black striped pants. This mask that looks so evil, and it definitely like scares the kids for sure. But Bray went to set up the Sister Abigail, and then he was like looking conflicted the entire match. He's grabbing his head. He's like, fighting between Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, and it's like the Fiend keeps coming out and he can't control the Fiend when he's out. And after he's struggling to do the Sister Abigail, Balor used that opening to go ahead and scrum up a pinfall, but couldn't do it, and ends up getting what Bray brings back as the Mandible Claw. So shout out to Mankind. Bray just catches Finn with the Mandible Claw. Finn doesn't know what to do. He takes him down. Fingers are down the throat, and he basically puts Finn to sleep. Referee counts him 1, 2, 3, and that was it. The lights go out, and then Bray's music plays, and it's kind of like him, like a demonic laugh, and he disappears up to the top of the ramp, looks back Undertaker style, and that was it. So it's fantastic to see Bray Wyatt back. I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Put him on SmackDown. I don't know, but he's by far the best thing that they got going on their show right now next to the Velveteen Dream on NXT. Again, another B match. I mean, nothing really got an A to me, I think. There were a couple C's, but whatever. It just wasn't it was tough to watch after you watch an NXT pay-per-view. I mean, I think everyone knows that by now that's an NXT fan. Last but not least, your Universal Championship. Seth Rollins versus your champion, Brock Lesnar. Now, this was a hellacious match. Brock suplexing and body slamming Rollins. Rollins hitting Brock with multiple curb stomps. Super kicking Brock Lesnar outside onto the Spanish announce table. And then frog splashing from the top rope onto Brock through the announce table. But it just wasn't enough. For Brock, he throws Brock back inside. Brock tries to hit him with an F5. Gets out of the F5. Hits him with a curb stomp. Brock gets up. Hits him with another curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. And the Beast Slayer, Seth Rollins, is your new WWE champion. And that was a pretty good match. Probably, I mean, looking back at it, between that match and the Ricochet AJ Styles match, best two matches of the night. Match of the night, I'll give to AJ Styles. I'll give to Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. They brought it. But Ricochet and AJ Styles, they're runners up for damn sure. Overall, I'll give SummerSlam a B. I mean, there wasn't anything that really impressed me, minus Bray Wyatt. The fact that Seth won, and the fact that they actually didn't run till 11. The show ended around 10:25, 10:30. So that was pretty nice. I didn't think that was going to happen, but they cut it short a little bit, which is always good because it was a long pay-per-view. And I knew they weren't going to have that Goldberg match go more than 10 minutes anyway. But overall, A+ for NXT TakeOver Toronto, a B for SummerSlam 2019. And let's see what they bring us on Monday Night Raw tonight. Let's see what they bring us to on SmackDown tomorrow and NXT following that. This is your boy C Money. I appreciate y'all for listening to me. Please follow me on Instagram, cmoney.exe, for sports breaking news. You can follow me on twitch.tv/MrJuly4 for any Let's Plays right now. I just uploaded one earlier of me playing Call of Duty Black Ops, getting ready for the new Modern Warfare that's coming out in October. And I recently just got Fire Emblem and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Nintendo Switch. So I will be streaming those within this week. And I am currently playing a game called Dauntless. It is a free-to-play role-playing action game, and it is similar to Monster Hunter if you've ever had a chance to play Monster Hunter. Last but not least, you can find your boy Victoria Sports Podcast on Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, all that good stuff. I appreciate y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all for watching me on Twitch and on my YouTube. Oh, YouTube, Mr. July 4, youtube.com/Mr. July 4. Upload all my Twitch videos to that so everyone can catch that. But till the next time, everybody, peace and love. This is your boy C Money, and I'm out.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.